So in this question, we are supposed to find the value of x. So now here, we're going to use the theorem that states that the exterior angle of a triangle is equals to the sum of two interior opposite angles. So hence, we know that the exterior angle of this triangle is equals to 2x plus 36, right? And the two interior opposite angles, it's x plus 10 degrees and 3x minus 50 degrees. So we're going to add the two angles together. So now let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say 2x. We're going to say 2x plus 36 degrees is equals to x plus 10 degrees plus 3x minus 50 degrees. Reason, exterior angle of a triangle equals to, we're just going to say exterior angle of a triangle, which is equals to two interior opposite angles. So we just can say exterior angle of a triangle, because you already know that the exterior angle of a triangle is equals to the sum of two interior opposite angles. Just say that the exterior angle of a triangle, that's your only reason. So they will know actually what you're talking about. So now let's go ahead and do the algebra and solve for x. So basically, I will take each and every value that is an x variable and put it on the left hand side. So I will take this x and put it this side, and also take this 3x, take it that side. So we'll have 2x. Taking this x, putting it this side is going to be negative x, and then 3x going that side is going to be negative 3x. And then I'm going to take this 36 degrees and put it on the right hand side. So it's going to be 10 degrees minus 50 degrees, and then this plus 36 degrees going that side is going to be minus 36 degrees. So now 2x minus x, it's x, and then x minus 3x is going to be minus 2x, and then 10 degrees minus 50 degrees is going to be minus 40 degrees, and then minus 40 degrees minus 36 degrees is going to be minus 76 degrees. So now I will divide both sides by negative 2. Therefore, x is going to be 38 degrees. So now let's take a look at this question. So in this question, we're given that it says that in triangle ABC, which is this one, ABC. So here there's B missing. So here it's supposed to be a B there. So in triangle ABC, BA is produced to D, as you can see there. And then they're saying calculate with reasons the value of A, right? And hence show that AE, this length AE, will be equals to AF. So we are supposed to show that AE is equals to AF. So now, first things first, we are supposed to find the value of A. The value of A. So we can see that A is here and here. So we are going to use exterior angle of a triangle is equals to the sum of two interior opposite angles. So hence we can see that this angle here is the exterior angle of this triangle, of this small triangle. So exterior angle is equals to the sum of this angle and this angle. So we're going to say 5A minus 40 degrees is equals to 2A plus 80 degrees, right? So hence again, I'm going to take each and every variable, each and every value that is a variable A to the left hand side, and each and every numerical value to the right hand side. So it's going to be 5A minus 2A, it's equals to 80 degrees. So this 40 goes to the right hand side, going to be 4 plus 40 degrees. So this is going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3A, and then 80 plus 40, which is equals to 120. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, giving me A equals to 40 degrees. So our A here is going to be 40 degrees, right? Hence we know that our A is going to be 40 degrees. So now we are going to substitute. Where there is A, we'll put our 40 degrees. So here, we'll go ahead and punch this on a calculator. So we're going to say 5 inside the brackets. So where there is A, we'll put 40 degrees. Closing the bracket, minus 40 degrees. Minus 40 degrees. Since we already know that this is going to be 5 into the brackets, 40 degrees minus 40 degrees. So where there is A, we substituted 40 degrees, right? Giving us giving us 160. So 5 times 40 is equals to 200, minus 40 degrees is equals to 160. So this angle here is going to be 160 degrees, right? And then here, where there is A, you put a 40 degrees. So it's going to be 2 times 40 degrees. So this angle here is going to be equals to 80 degrees, right? So now we have a new shape. This shape is like this, right? And then we have 160 degrees here, we have 80 degrees here, and then we have also an 80 degrees here. And then we can see that these two angles are equal, right? Hence, if these two angles are equal, this implies that these two sides will be equal, meaning angles opposite equal sides. Hence, we are supposed to show that AE is equals to AF. Showing this, we are going to substitute. We are going to say 2A is equals to 2 into 40 degrees, which is equals to 80 degrees, right? And then this implies that this angle A, angle EF, will be equals to A, angle FE, right? At which they are both equals to 80 degrees, right? Right? Since we substituted, we also showed that since this one is 80 degrees, when we substitute A, we also get 80 degrees here, right? So therefore, AE, this side here, AE will be equals to AF. So will be equals to AF. Reason being, angles opposite equal sides. So that's how you will show that AE is equals to AF. We are supposed to calculate the values of B, C, and E with reasons, right? So now, first things first, let's find the value of B, right? So now, finding the values of B, hence we already calculated this angle here, which was 160 degrees, right? And then we can see that here, these are angles on a straight line. 160 plus B is equals to 180. So we're going to say 160 degrees. So let me just use another color. So we're going to say 160 degrees plus B is equals to 180 degrees. Hence reason angles on a straight line. These are angles on a straight line. So basically here we're just going to solve for B. So we'll take this 160 to the right hand side, giving us B equals to 180 minus 160 degrees. Therefore our B will be equals to 20 degrees, right? So now, and remember here we already found that here this angle is 80 degrees, right? And then here we have what you call parallel lines, since we're given that EF is parallel to BC, right? So when we see parallel lines, what comes into our mind? F.U.N, right? Corresponding angles, co-interior angles, and alternating angles. So let's go ahead and use that to solve for this. So now, first things first, I already see that here there is an F being formed. Remember, you have to follow the parallel lines, forming an F, and then we can see that this angle here, it's equals to this angle here, present corresponding angles, right? So we can see that C is equals to 2A, right? Reason corresponding angles are equal. Hence, AE is parallel to, hence EF is parallel to BC. Remember, we're using F.U.N only in parallel lines, right? That's why we have to state the parallel lines that we're talking about. So CA is equals to 2A, and therefore this C here is going to be what? 80 degrees, since we already know that 2 times A, and then our A is 40 degrees, and then 2 times 40 degrees gives us 80 degrees. And then let's look at another one. Another one, we have another F here. We have another F here. And then we can see that this angle here is corresponding to this one. So we can see that E is equals to 80 degrees. This 80 degrees reason corresponding angles are equal. Hence, EF is parallel to BC. And then let's look at also another one. We can see something else here. There is a U that is being formed here. We can see that this angle and this angle forms this U, which these are called interior angles. Right? We can see, and then therefore we can state that D plus E will be equals to 180 degrees. Reason, co-interior angles are equals to 180 degrees. Reason being EF being parallel to BC. And then we already know what is our E. Our E is 80 degrees, so D plus 80 degrees will be equals to 180 degrees. So we'll take this 80 that side. D will be equals to 180 degrees minus 80 degrees. And therefore, D will be equals to 100 degrees. So we solved for B. Our B was 20 degrees. We solved for C. Our C is 80 degrees. We solved for D. Our D is 100 degrees. We solved for E. Our E is 80 degrees. So let's go ahead and look at this question. So in this question, we're given a diagram alongside, right, whereby CD is parallel to EF, as you can see here. CD is parallel to EF. And then we are also given that D angle EF is equals to 28 degrees. And then angle B is equals to 48 degrees. And B angle DE is 160 degrees, hence we can see here it's shown. And then we are in B angle DE, in this same triangle we have D1, which is D1 and X, right? So now here we are supposed to prove that AB is parallel to CD. So here, remember, when we are proving parallel lines, we have to prove them according to this rule, right? It's either we are going to use angles forming F, which are corresponding angles. It's either we are going to use co-interior angles, which are forming a U. And then it's either we are going to use a Z, which are alternating angles. So, but before we prove this, we have to find the missing values, like values of X and etc., right? And values like D1 and X. So first things first, let us find the value of X. So we don't jump straight to like proving this thing. We find the values that are missing in order for us to make things simple, right? So finding X here, since you already know that CD is parallel to EF, we're going to use F.U.N. So what do we see here? We can see that F is not there. We cannot see F. And then we can also see that co-interior angles are not here, so there is no U, but we can see a Z. A Z is being formed here. Just follow the parallel lines. We can see that X will be equals to what? 28 degrees. So X here is equals to 28 degrees. Reason being alternating angles which are equal. Hence DC is parallel to EF. Right? Hence we can see that here, this angle here will be equals to 28 degrees. So now, we have to find D1, right? D1, how would you find D1? D1, we already know that D1 plus X is equals to 160, right? We already know that D1, angle D1 plus X is equals to 160 degrees. And you can see this is general knowledge. You already know that this 160 is enclosed between D1 and X. So now, we already found X, so we'll say D1 plus our X, it's 28 degrees, which is equals to 160 degrees. And then we'll take this 28 to the right hand side, giving us D1 is equals to 160 degrees minus 28 degrees, right? So punching 160 minus 28 gives us, so we'll say 160 minus 28, giving us 132. So therefore, angle D1, right, is equals to 132 degrees. So this angle here will be equal, so let me just use this color to show that this angle here will be equals to 132 degrees. So now, remember now, coming back to proving this thing, AB, proving that AB is parallel to CD, we have to use either of this. So now, we can see that when we're looking at AB and BC, right, and looking at these two angles here, D1 and this 48 degrees here, angle B, they eventually form this angle called, it's more like a U formed, right? So we can see that here we'll be focusing on co-interior angles, on angles that are forming a U. So now, remember these two angles, if these two angles gives us 180, this implies that these two lines are parallel. But if they don't give us 180, these angles will never be parallel. Why am I saying that? Is that because co-interior angles are equal to 180 degrees, or co-interior angles are supplementary, right? But we don't know that yet, so we have to show that D1 plus angle B has to give us 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and show that. So we're going to say here, angle D1, we're going to say angle D1 plus angle B. It's equals to, so where there is D1, we'll put 132 degrees. And then where there is B, you'll put 48. So you'll go ahead and punch this on your calculator. You're going to say 132 plus 48 on your calculator. So you're going to say 132 plus 48, giving us 180. So since these two angles, D1 and B, gives us 180, this implies that AB will eventually be parallel to CD. Reason being, co-interior angles are equals to 180 degrees. Right? So we already saw that these two angles here eventually form what you call a U-like shape. And then we know that from F.U.N, co-interior angles have to give us 180 degrees, or the U-shaped angles have to give us 180 degrees. Let's look at this question. So in this question, we are given a diagram alongside such that PU is parallel to TQ. Hence, we can see from here that PU is actually parallel to TQ. And then we are also given that T is equals to 42 degrees. We're also given that R angle QS is equals to 82 degrees. P angle QT is equals to Y. U angle PT is equals to X. So we can see here X. And Q angle PT is equals to X plus 40 degrees. And you can see there. So the first question, we're supposed to prove that PT is parallel to QS. Right? So remember, we don't jump straight into trying to prove that PT is parallel to QS. Nope. First things first, let's find where is PT, the line PT, and QS. So we're going to draw a line. So this is line PT, and this is line QS, right? Fine. So now, we are going to look at the missing values first. First things first, we look at the missing values, right? And then we are going to consider F.U.N, right? first things first, find the missing values. So now, let's try and find the missing values. Hence, we're given here that this angle here, it's what? It's 42 degrees, right? Hence, let's try and find x first. Let's find x first. So now, we can see using F.U.N from this parallel lines here. From these two parallel lines, we're going to start by co-interior angles. So we'll look for F here. And then we can see that F is being formed like this. Let me just use another color. So we can see that there is F. There's something like this here, at which this is F, right? So this F here is between this parallel line and this parallel line, right? And then this F tells us this angle will be equals to what? This angle, right? Fine. Let's move again. We're going to look for a U. This angle here, this makes a U, making this angle here and this one equals to 180 degrees, right? Okay. And then we're going to look for another one, an angle that forms a Z. We can see that a Z is being formed like this, making this angle equals to this angle. Okay, we're done with our F.U.N, right? So remember, first things first, play around your diagram and try to find your F.U.N. When you see parallel lines, try to play around and try to figure out where is this F.U.N at. Remember, this has to be F.U.N. You don't have to stress too much. So now, we can eventually see that this Z here makes X equals to 42, right? So this makes that, this makes this angle here, which is equals to X, equals to 42 degrees. So this makes X equals to 42 degrees. Reason being, alternating angles. We used alternating angles that are equal, since we have been guided by what? PU parallel to TQ. Right? So we can see that this here will be 42 degrees. Right? Okay. Now let's look for another thing here. We already let's use the our green angles, which is F.U.N, right? The angles forming an F, right? We can eventually see that since here this is going to be 42, right? We already know that our X is 42. So, and then here we also have X, right? So we'll eventually say whether it's X will substitute 42, right? So this makes this angle here, which is equals to that. This makes Q angle PT, which is equals to X plus 42, plus 40 degrees. Whether it's X, we'll just substitute a 42. We'll put a 42 degrees here, which is going to be 42 plus 40, which is equals to 82 degrees. So this angle here will be equals to 82 degrees. So we'll put an 82 here, 82 degrees here. Right. Putting an 82 degrees there. After putting this 82 degrees here, we can eventually see that this angle here, that is equals to 82 degrees, it's actually equals to this 82 here. Hence we already been given that this angle is equals to 82 degrees. So what do we see? We see that this angle here and this angle here are also forming this thing called an F-like shape. Can you see it? We can see that this angle here, they form an F-like shape. So we can therefore conclude that therefore, right, Q angle PT, right, it's equals to this angle here, that is equals to 82. It's equals to R angle QS. Hence they are both equals to what? 82 degrees. Right? They are both equals to 82 degrees. Right? So this implies that we can say therefore, since they're equal, and then we can see that they form an F, this makes PT parallel to QS. Because we eventually see that there's an F. Whenever there's an F-like shape, this tells us about parallel lines. Whether it's F.U.N, they are parallel lines. Whether it's F.U.N, there's parallel lines, right? So now, hence, if this angle is equals to this angle, we can eventually see that this two angles forms a what? An F-like shape. And the F-like shape tells us about what? Corresponding angles that are equal. So that's how you prove this. So you're just going to, remember, you don't just hurry to like prove this thing, or you just play around. Find the missing values first, and then you'll see doors will be opening up, right? So now, B, we are supposed to find or calculate the value of y, right? So now, calculating the value of y, you can do it in many ways, more like 1,000 ways to find the value of y. So you just choose which way you want to use or which way you want to go, right? So I'll say, I will choose, it's either you choose sum of angles of a triangle, right? Hence you already know what is x. Our x is equals to 42, right? Making this angle equals to 82. So you're going to say 82 plus 42 plus y equals to 180 degrees, right? And then you can also use another method, whereby you'll use these two parallel lines, forming a U, right? Forming a U-like shape. And then hence you already know that this angle is equals to 42 degrees, and this angle here, which is x, it's 42, right? So these two angles, this angle here plus this angle here gives us what? 180 degrees. So that's how you'll solve for y. So I'll give you a task to just solve for y. So question B, it's yours to solve.